my 420 review, Death of a Crime Novelist, P.I. Blanc uncovers web, everyone has a motive, plot twist, of course.
Spoilers. Actually, just for fun, I'm going to mute that and then put it at the end. Just in case actually people come for a little bit of non-spoilers. Let enter Benoit Blanc. He'll solve your murder and destroy your fortune. Best murder mystery ever found at Gravity's Rainbow.
A murder whodunit game. Mystery benefactor says go. Was it morphine overdose? Was it dramatic suicide? It was definitely something.
This is Knives Out. Those are the 420 reviews. Reviews with 20 words, 4 words a sentence or line. And you can go over to the Discord and drop your own 420 review to be added for future movies. But this is Knives Out with a budget of $40 million. It made 300 and where's the number that I had on screen? $312,897,920. It was such a hit that Netflix gave Rian Johnson, the writer-director, and Daniel Craig, the main star, so to speak, $100 million for the privilege of funding the next two. And we're recording this a few weeks before Wake Up Dead Man comes into theaters, which I am planning to see 20 times. It's not a joke. I'm going to do that. But Bradley Cooper's trivia. All right, Bradley Cooper's much sexier than the real thing.
So a couple things here. The Harlan's house was actually filmed in 3 different locations, but obviously the thing that we see the most of is the exterior of the house. The exterior of the house belongs to Blanche Ames, who was an inventor, artist, and women's rights activist.
Very nice.
And it sits on a 1,200-acre estate.
Do you have the other 2 locations, or was that the most notable?
The main one.
Yeah.
One of the other trivia pieces, Joseph Gordon-Levitt makes a surprise cameo in this movie. He is the voice of the program that Martha was watching in the kitchen.
For context, Rian Johnson's first film was Brick, a movie I still haven't seen, but it had Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the main actor when he was going through his purely independent phase before he started doing bigger stuff like Inception or G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, which he said was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And he has made cameos in every film since, which made when I saw him in The Brothers Bloom, which was Adrian Brody and Mark Ruffalo, very confusing because it's like, that's Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He put a hat. He's definitely involved. It did not come up. But now he does cameos in every Rian Johnson film. I forget what cameo he did in The Last Jedi, but of course he was in Looper.
Yeah,
which I think Rian Johnson did. Yeah.
And then the last piece of trivia, they make a point to show you the mural up on the wall and up above the fireplace.
I love it.
He is frowning in the beginning of the movie, and then after they solve the murder and they pan back to that same portrait, he's smiling.
If you hadn't mentioned, I was going to add that. Plus, the entire filming process, that was either a green screen or a blue screen. That mural was not there the entire time they filmed.
Yeah, it wasn't ready when they started filming.
Cool. All right. Thoughts for the non-spoiler section? All right. I'll say every time I watch one of these movies, I just get into a cycle of rewatching both, like ping-ponging back. And then eventually I'm like, I got to find something as good. And I'll find something. Why does my nose look like Rudolph? Man, I gotta stop snorting cocaine before these.
That's a joke for legal reasons.
But I'll find something else and be like, it was almost as good. I think the closest murder mystery movie I've found that's almost as satisfying-ish is Murder on the Nile. So any suggestions from anybody of greatness like this, unless y'all disagree, we'll get into that. But I need more. Thank God it's going to be a trilogy soon.
I liked this one when I first saw it the first time. I really liked it because I think I saw this one in theaters. Well, I don't remember if I saw one of them in theaters. I don't remember which one. It might have been the second one. It might have been Glass Onion. But in retrospect, now that I've seen both the movies, I prefer Glass Onion over this one.
Ooh.
Yeah, this one. I think the second movie's got a better pacing to it. It's got a little bit more flair for the dramatics versus this one, where it's very, very 70s, 80s book style murder mystery. More excited for the next one.
Very bookish.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot to mention, this movie may have made, depending on your view, No Time to Die, the most recent Bond film, a little worse. Only because after filming this, Daniel Craig went off to do the last Bond film. He brought Ana de Armas in for, honestly, an amazing sequence. She was such a light on screen. It was great, but people theorized that one action sequence she came in for might have been Felix Leiter's. And considering that's the last time either one of them will be on screen as, Felix Leiter and Bond, people were like, I felt like he was a little short shrifted on screen. Like there should have been more. And it would make so much sense if they were like, yeah, this was going to be them as like one big hurrah together. But Daniel Craig, of course, loving his time with Ana de Armas, and who can blame him, was like, do we have space in here? And she really did like do an amazing job. So I don't want to take that away from her. But a flip side of that coin might have been slightly negative for the film in the emotional resonance of it. But yeah, Milan, what did you think?
I mean, I love the actors. The actors were great.
Nailed it. I love it. We'll talk about the actors for a second. What did you think of Daniel Craig with a Southern gentleman accent?
It was interesting. It was definitely interesting. It wasn't what I expected. I mean, the acting was good. The acting was fun.
CSI KFC.
Yeah. It was interesting seeing him in that role. Because I'm not used to seeing him in very many other roles other than like maybe Bond and similar things of that nature.
Sure. Oh man, his career is wild. He did Matthew Vaughn's first film, which was Layer Cake, which is arguably one of the films that attracted one of the Bond producers to him, not Barbara Broccoli. She saw him in something else, which was much more niche. And then he also worked with Steven Spielberg on Munich and all these other things. Just he's been around for a while. It just took a while before he blew up. And I think I'll look it up, but I believe either Christopher Plummer is older than his mom in the film, or they're like 4 years apart. But
6 years apart, and let's see, he's older than her. He was 90, she was 84.
Yeah, he's 91 now.
Yeah.
And of course, this is in the time where Chris Evans was still being Captain America. So, what a refreshing for him role to be able to go, eat shit, eat shit, eat shit. Which actually was originally supposed to be written, go fuck yourself, fuck yourself, or something like that. But the rules for MPAA ratings are, if you say fuck once, it's a PG-13. That's why in Get Shorty, there's only one fuck. Or not Get Shorty. Be Cool, the sequel to Get Shorty. And if you say it twice, it's just automatically an R rating. Some movies have gotten exceptions. So on the day, Brian Johnson was like, this is the only thing that would make it R-rated. It would be really a bummer if it really restricted how many people could see this. And Chris Evans himself said, I always find a good eat shit does the job. But yeah, it is. I saw it with my partner recently, and they were, when I came over, we had watched a little bit in the morning, and they were like, I've been waiting to watch this all day. But I forget what it starts as, of course, a murder mystery. Then we find out who the murderer is, then the twist and all the very non-typical murder movie structure, I guess. Anything y'all want to talk about before we get into spoilers? All right. Ironically, a murder mystery writer gets murdered in his own murder mystery.
And then tries to write about it as he's being murdered.
And this was the first time that I was like, that's pretty ironic. I need to figure out a way to put it into a video that makes sense. But if he hadn't had so it's kind of a paradox. If he hadn't had such a heart and cared for Marta, he would have been able to solve his own murder. Because literally like 2 minutes before, he's like, me and Ransom, so much alike, and someone else says the story sprung fully formed and Ransom's idea sprung fully formed and all this stuff. If he had survived, he would be like, wait, who was as brilliant as I to come up with this plot? But yeah, he could have solved his own murder, especially since Ransom was his intern, like a research assistant for a semester or something like that.
Yeah, but it's pretty smart of him to like clear Martha's name, do it in such a way to try and clear her name, and then be like, oh, well, you could just do this. Turn before the elephant statue. Was it before or after
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 the BAFTOR.
The BAFTOR.
Also, the meta stuff, like, you've got to be kidding me. I am not.
Yeah, so a lot of that stuff is like fun and stuff like that, but I'm going to do my best not to compare this to the second movie.
Appreciate you.
It's fun, but like I would say it's very like, a lot of it is very like old school murder mystery that like adds like a humor to it, more modern humor. And then kind of goes off the rails a little bit at the end after we figure out everything. But then, I don't know. It's fun, but it's, I don't know.
Plus, they had a Spanish dubbed Angela Lansby, who was like Murder, She Wrote in a part. So it's very meta, or not meta, but like reverential. Rian Johnson has said that Agatha Christie would just write murder mysteries about the political climate of their time, or so to speak. So that's kind of what he was trying to channel. We look at it as like old timey now, obviously. Yeah, they both said that they would like to keep doing these films until they die. The writer, director, and Daniel Craig. And I guess if it means anything for the next two, Rian Johnson had in his Netflix contract that he was allowed to go away and do another film in between the two sequels. But once he finished Glass Onion, he was like, I'm just having so much fun. I don't want to.
He needs to stop killing other franchises and just do this one.
Yeah. I mean, he said that Jamie Lee Curtis was his favorite actress to work on this, to the point where she was always around and he just put her in scenes that she wasn't written in. I still can't tell which scenes, but I kind of desperately want in the fourth movie for him to just like shave Jamie Lee Curtis's head, give her full like skull tattoos, full arm tattoos, have her play a completely different character just so she can come back. A much more extreme version of like what Quentin Tarantino or Robert Rodriguez or Kevin Smith do, where they have recurring actors and actresses, even if it doesn't make canonical sense. But I kind of just want to see that and have like a white muscle tee like Vin Diesel would wear. Like that's I just want that. I want that. It's so out there, I wouldn't be able to look away.
Yeah, so I'm just looking at what he's kind of done in between here. So obviously he did The Last Jedi in 2017. Then he does this in 2019.
What was it, 2022?
2 was Glass Onion. 2023 through 2025 is Poker Face, which he directs, writes some episodes, and is executive producer. He's also the creator. Pretty
good show. It's on Peacock.
And then in 2024, he did 3 Body Problem, which he's an executive producer on.
That's it.
Now he's doing Wake Up Dead Man. So he kills a franchise, builds a franchise, and creates a pretty good show.
Yeah. Look, I get criticism of The Last Jedi, but like, let's not pretend like it's worse than Rise of Skywalker with respect.
I mean, but like this isn't a Star Wars podcast. He had a chance to like, I don't know, just land the plane. He could have just crash landed it. Instead, he like kamikazed it into the franchise. It's like, here, let's just forget what happened in the last movie and a half, and we're just gonna just make our own thing from this point on.
All right, we'll get into that later because I kind of see that much more with Rise of Skywalker, and I guess the most controversial choice made sense to me, which is what would be most depressing to Rey. Her family was nobodies. Anything else would kind of just be an Easter egg or something that doesn't hit for the audience because it's like, here's a new character. But yeah, what was it? And then, yeah, Poker Face is pretty good as Natasha Lyonne. It's a howdunit. So you see the murder in the first 20 minutes completely, and then you see where she's been with relation to the murder. And they got some pretty good stars. Although the filming on the top of a gas station looks garbage. I don't know how it looks so bad, but I'll just leave that for another day. But Natasha Lyonne from Russian Doll, which is also excellent.
I did appreciate a little bit of the filmography of this movie, how they kind of use a grainy, darker effects on a lot of stuff.
Yes.
It feel older than it actually is. And this is Rian Johnson's first film on digital film that he didn't film on film. So first time using digital filming. I think he did a pretty good job at it.
Yeah, he said he did that because there's this guy who has this mathematical equation that converts digital into looking filmic, and that was basically the only way they could really afford to do that on this budget. But some I don't know, someone so much smarter than me is able to do that and actually make it look, I guess, like the real thing. I've never had an eye enough to always know. But yeah, I love this movie, obviously. I mean, we've got every single person, and a lot of this stuff that I'll mention, I didn't even realize in the first watch. But like every time somebody gives a recap of the birthday night, they're the ones next to Dad blowing out the candles. Every time somebody mentions Marge's heritage, they go to a new place like Uruguay, Peru. I don't know if Peru is one of them, but like nobody actually knows. Everybody who mentions, I wish you were at the funeral, but I was outvoted. And just, God, the nuances. Michael Shannon, the guy with the cane, did an amazing job. I saw him in a 2-man play in high school before I knew who he was. Did a pretty good job. I'm just looking at the whole cast right now as the background. And God, I just love it. I do. I
mean, I don't know. In comparison to murder mysteries and stuff nowadays. So I think before this or after this was the Apple TV show. Is that before or after this?
Which Apple TV show?
The one with all the people going back.
Oh, the After Party? This was before.
This was before. So looking at stuff like the After Party, where it's a little bit more modern, a little bit more, 2020 plus, this feels slow compared to stuff like that. So I think that was my big thing, was like it was very slow, very deliberate, but very slow, methodical. They took their time on a lot of things. They over-explained some things, kind of made everybody go through their story, which I know is kind of a murder mystery thing, but like, so you can see some of the nuances, but some of the pacing just felt off to me for a lot of this movie, which...
Interesting.
Watching it the first time, I think I didn't notice it as much, but rewatching it now several times, even now, this is the first time I watched it in probably since Knives Out came out. And it just, I didn't even remember who was the murderer at the end of this movie until like a halfway through. I was like, yep, I remember now. So it felt like the pacing was off this movie. So for me personally.
Okay. What parts dragged for you?
The parts, like, especially like the beginning interrogations. When LeBlanc is like pressing the piano, and then he figures out that what's her name is lying about her puking and stuff like that. So there's just some pacing issues where some things felt like they were like snap, like there was, what's her name, the lady that Ryan Johnson liked,
Jamie Lee Curtis
was in there, and then they would snap to somebody else, and it would snap back to somebody else, and all of a sudden like you'd be like focused on one person forever, and then they would snap to somebody else, just like, well, what are we doing?
I loved it. They said for one of the moments where she's like, if you think you're going to bait me about talking about family issues in front of the police, you have got to be... Walt! Like they went like cutting one frame out at a time to get that cut pace perfectly. I don't know. I mean,
stuff like that's okay because it's like playing off each other, but there's other times where it just seems like you're hearing multiple stories of like in multiple sections. So I didn't really like that. It kind of made it off a little bit. Like they were deliberately trying to hide stuff. And so you wouldn't know everything right away. Yeah. But then also it just felt like they would snap to things and all of a sudden just like drag things out. Try to think of another scene where that kind of does that. The scene where they're playing what's that game called? Go or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That seemed to drag out they kept snapping in the game, which is fine. It's a game. I don't want to see the whole game. They kept snapping, and then all of a sudden, like they drug out the whole like, all right, this is what we're gonna do, and then immediately jump out the window. Like, so the pacing of it felt weird to me, but that's just.
What do you mean jump out the window?
Because he was like explaining like, all right, well, this is really interesting. I got to write this down. You said, what is this? And you need what to fix me? And blah, blah. So he's like trying like, oh, I should use this in my next murder mystery thing when she's looking for the Narcan. And then all of a sudden it's like, all right, this is what you need to do. You need to go do all this. And then you need to do this. And then we're going to do this. And then she's jumping out the window to start the whole action sequence. So I don't know, just some of it felt weird.
Okay.
I mean,
another thing I forgot, I just remembered was the car chase apparently was supposed to be more of an actual car chase, but they didn't have the budget, so they went in the opposite direction. And I don't know, just going with the non-typical choice. I just love it. Just that word, like that car chase, because it's so opposite, is so much more satisfying than the car chase in Barbie, which even speaks to it because I saw America Ferrera in an interview, and someone very specifically asked, "So you were in a car chase? Like, how did that feel?" And then she goes, "Oh yeah, how the Barbie mobile flips." Like she forgot she was in a car chase commercial because they tried doing a genuine one and it was mediocre. No, the only sequence I would say was mediocre in that film, and all the allusions to God, the whole conversation that's alluding to Trump hit much rougher these days, if you know what I mean.
What part are you talking about?
They never say his name, but when he's like, "You like him," you go, "No, I don't like him. He is an asshole, but maybe it's an asshole that we need." And then she did it the right way. She blah 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 blah. And the whole, I would say the same thing if it wasn't Mexicans.
They're Eastern European, blah blah blah. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get into it. Glass Onion had a very crazily timed thing that happened, which everyone knows, but I won't say so it won't spoil anything. But it just became a meme. And it's just like, I don't know. For me, Ryan Johnson seems to be a soothsayer, just reading the tea leaves. They deal with COVID in Glass Onion. It's immediate, so that's not really a spoiler where you see it. It's just someone's calling, so I'm just gonna. But yeah, I mean,
Milan, is there anything that like
you do want to talk about?
Yeah, is there anything that you specifically want to talk about? You said you like the characters.
I've been staying respectfully quiet here on this one.
Is it just?
I agree. Like my biggest issue with this was mostly the pacing. So like very often throughout the movie, like a lot of the stuff is predictable. That's how a lot of whodunits are. Like I don't think there are very many whodunits out there that truly leave you guessing throughout the entire thing. Like this wasn't one of those. So I think combined with the fact that the pacing was very slow to me, I kept finding myself getting bored and getting distracted and having to force myself to get back and pay attention to what was kind of going on in the movie. So it just felt very flat there. Like if it weren't for the fact that they had so many great actors I enjoyed watching, I don't think I would have been able to make it through the film just because of how the pacing and such was. And the predictability of like so much of it going on. Like even, the twist, ultimate twist at the end or whatever, like even parts of that were predictable halfway through the film. So it's like there had to be something else to kind of keep you engaged with it. And I wasn't getting it.
I gotta say, you are so much smarter than me, and I would hate watching movies like that because I am very thankful that even though I can go so analytic or get so into the weeds that just sometimes brain turns off. I'm just like, just watch. Who could have told that Trooper Wagner was the murderer?
It was LeBlanc the whole time, or was it Benoit Blanc? Benoit.
Or as Jody says, Mr. Blank. Oh God, I'm so excited. I don't know if you'll enjoy it because who knows? But God, I'm just thinking about moments from Glass Onion that echo here for certain characters. It's just, I've never seen it, but what was her name? The college student was from 13 Reasons Why, also got praise from Ryan Johnson because she has that phone call where it has just the eyes lit only. And he's like, you don't understand how hard that is to hit that mark, make it look good, and be a great actress at the same time. But, oh my God, the actress for, I just said Jodie, it's weird because without cutting in between, it has a similar structure, but it reminded me of when you were talking about it, Brad, Little Miss Sunshine, because that movie starts with a 25-minute KFC dinner, but it's not going through all these different time periods and edited like this movie was with all that. So the director at the time, or the directors who also did a great show on Netflix called Living with Yourself, fully recommend it. But they were like, we got a lot of pushback on having it almost open with a 25-minute dinner scene, but it was so important to establish everyone before going on a road trip. But she also did a Diablo Cody show called The United States of Terror, which I saw a little bit of, and it was also great. But one thing that I love and that my partner also loved was, what did the Nazi boy who was masturbating in the bathroom say? And the black eye at the end from the cheating husband, CGI, that was not planned. They're like, you know what, this would be a great little detail right at the end, and I can see it. Also, apparently, Lakeith Stanfield does a very important role of grounding the film in his part. Yeah, I know I'm going to be in the minority from what we've been hearing, but I fucking love this film. It's just endlessly.
The only one you get.
Rewatchable. I eat shit this film. Or eat shit love this film. God, it's just...
Yeah.
For me, it feels like magic.
I mean, it's fun. It's boring in some aspects. It's got a huge cast, a lovable cast. And I think everybody does really well. And looking at the awards and stuff like that they were nominated for, like basically everybody in this film was nominated for something. So yeah. I mean, it was a good film. It's just, I don't know. For me, the pacing's off in this one. I do like murder mysteries. I do think they're fun. Start watching Only Murderers.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that pacing's really slow, but it's also a 9-episode TV show, so it's not like they have to fill in those.
It's Steve Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. So it's a lot of shtick, but oh man, it's really good.
Wait, old people trying to be cool, young people trying to be displacement of the old people trying to be cool. Just it's a lot of shtick, but
I mean. I'm just looking at this guy. If no one's seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, Jamie Lee Curtis also puts an amazing performance in there. Munich from Daniel Craig was great. I think it was Sorry to Bother You. Lakeith Stanfield did an amazing job.
There's this one independent film, I think it was called Captain America, which Chris Evans does a really good job in.
Never seen it.
Never seen it.
Civil War was the best.
What's the other one? Blizzard Train, or what's that one?
Oh, Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
Jung Boon Ho. It also spawned a TV show starring Daveed Diggs, who co-starred and co-wrote my favorite movie, Blind Spotting.
Yeah.
Not the fictional movie.
I was close. I mean, my
no, I got you. But yeah, and I wouldn't ask anyone to. But I'm fascinated how a rewatch would hit. But if it's boring on a first watch, I don't think that. Well,
you'd have to give it some time. Like for me, it's been a couple of years, and I've seen Glass Onion, which I like more. And I'll beat that horse to death. That for being able to forget who did it and then rewatch it again. I mean, I think that's when I really started getting kind of like tuned out. Is once I refigured out like who did it and how they did it and stuff like that. I just kind of like, I mean. It's tough watching shows like this a second time or movies like this a second time. Just from the point of like, you already know the shtick. So, I mean, you already know the game.
That's what I normally find with most murder mysteries. These two feel the exception because, there's all the nuance and things that, again, like half these things I'll mention, I did not know until I watched some YouTube video of someone else smarter or more observant noticing. But like when Ransom first shows up, the dogs bark. That's a hint that at 3 a.m. he tried to go back, but the dogs barked because they didn't like him. In his apartment, he threw one of his glass like jugs or whatever they're called that are all lined up, and there's some flashback where he's getting the note first. All the jugs are there. And then when Marta shows up, there's one missing because he used it as a Molotov cocktail to burn down the medical location or whatever that had the toxicology report. The painting, the differences of who's with him at the blowing out of the candles, the different perspectives of what happened that night. Michael Shannon's character saying, "Dad, go to bed." Like Dad waves him up like, okay. But in the actual scene where she goes down, she doesn't do that. She just runs right back up. All these different perspectives and differences and nuances are just, even if you don't like the movie, if you're somebody who likes to dig into details and notice little nuances, it's so complicated and it's just a web of like different things that work. Like everything has a double meaning. The reason Ransom goes to help her seems just to be greedy, but he's like, okay, failed the first time. Give me a second. I know how to get you this time. And then if they hadn't been spotted, which I love because even in Peacemaker, there's so many shows where they pull up to some murder scene and like, yeah, let's talk and look at it and talk and look at it and talk and look at it. And we're the only car that's weirdly placed in this whole scene. We're not parked. We don't have our lights turned off. Okay, nobody notices us. Let's leave. But this one did it differently where obviously they did get noticed. And just the details of the go board falling and that not making a noise, and I love it.
Well, let's go ahead and put this on the dopometer and wrap this one up.
I'm between ayahuasca and mushroom. I know I'll be in the minority, but if either of you have a ranking in mind, feel free to go first. Because
what's the one above a joint?
Edible.
So I'll go a jointy edible. So I'll go like B plus.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean it's solid. It's good. For me, it's just the pacing. Some parts get pretty boring, like Milan said. The acting's great. Overall, I think it's a solid movie. Not a whole lot I can really complain about besides like the pacing and how it can be kind of boring and predictable a little bit. Does throw some twists in there, what they're supposed to do.
Before I forget, and I'll mention it now so that Milan and I both have a little more time to choose. The actor who was supposed to be the groundskeeper unfortunately passed away. And another gentleman who you see on screen took his place, but there is a photo of the original actor when they put the grounds on to set up the magnet. He's there. So he still gets honored because it was, of course, a tragedy that he passed away right before they could start filming. But I just want to throw that out there as I forget who the actor was, but just as that's a nice little Easter egg for anyone who rewatches it. Milan, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
No, I can go. I would give it a solid joint. It's a good film. I likely wouldn't rewatch it. But, if I had someone who was into, murder mysteries and things like that, I would recommend it. I think it's a film that other people who enjoy that, that type of stuff would enjoy. I think that the pacing and such just wasn't really for me. I think ultimately that's what it came down to. Because even the big twist at the end, I think if the pacing was more engaging, like I would have enjoyed that. But they dragged it out so much that it made it to where you were forced to figure it out before you even got to that final pump at the end. And that kind of takes away a little bit of the fun.
So without checking the next two films, I believe both are, this was 2 hours, 9 minutes with credits. The next two are 2 hours, 20 minutes with credits. So I'm very curious, especially since Brad said that he prefers Glass Onion. And I can see the argument for that. I'm split, how that will hit. But I think I'm going to go, I'm so tempted to go ayahuasca, but I'll go ayahuasca-y mushroom because I'm tempted to go. It's not something I would inherently get a tattoo on my body about, but I wouldn't be opposed. So that's why I'm tempted to go, maybe because of we're not all on the same page, but I'll stick to ayahuasca-y mushroom because, as soon as we're done filming, I've chosen to watch Glass Onion. That's on Netflix, by the way, as we talked about. But is this better than Sinners? I'm going to just say, for me, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
all right. Since we'll have rare opportunity for this, for the next two, we'll do, is it better than the last one? And then that'll just synonymously go with, we're going to do a mini rankathon of the three, since we can. This isn't review-a-thon anymore, but, since we can.
Since they're all part of the same trilogy.
Yeah, and I guess it's not a spoiler, but they are structuring these so that you can watch any movie out of order. There's no ongoing story, although there may be extra details that you're like, oh, okay. But whether it is an ayahuasca mushroom, an edibly joint, or a joint, it's dope because movies are dope.
I see you got to work on your pacing too.
I don't want to leave y'all behind.
Death of a crime novelist. P.I. Blanc uncovers web. Everyone has a motive. Plot twist. Of course, Captain America.
Spoilers.
I'm living in a movie, there's a scene you gotta jump. I got my people at the viewing who all knew me selling tickets. Yeah, they're talking about the beauty. I see Scorsese outside saying this isn't cinema. Free man, I ain't doing shit tomorrow, I don't need plans. I'll be kicking it till April off for $3 grand. I don't even need the money, I just need fans. I just need fans.